Hello everyone. In today's C# course, I want to talk to you about data types and variables. Okay, let's begin with writing some examples. Let's write console write line. My name is Ahmet. And let's write I am 22 years old. And of course, don't forget write console read line. So, if I want to change my name, let's say I want to change Ahmet to Tom. I can just come here and manually change my name Ahmet from to Tom. But of course I don't want to do that, because I want to keep my information and manage it from somewhere else. So basically what I mean is I want to create a variable. So let's create one. Let's come here and give a name to our variable. What should be our variable name? Let's say because we are changing my name, it would be my name. But as you can see, it gives an error. Why it gives an error? Because it says you can't define a variable without a data type. So it needs a reference point. So what should be our data type? Because that my name is Ahmed is a plain text, the data type of this variable should be string data type. And as you can see, when I type string, because it's a keyword, it changes color to blue. Okay, so we'll create our first variable. But as you can see, we haven't assigned any value to that variable. So let's assign one. What should be our name? Let's say Tom. To assign Tom value to this variable name, we have to come here, then assign, and because of this name, this is a string, we have to open a quotation mark, then write our name in it. Let's say Tom, and end it with a semicolon. Okay, now everything is done. I have a variable and its value Tom. So what was my objective? I wanted to change my name from Ahmed to Tom. So if I come here and write my name inside of those quotation marks, does it change it to Tom? The answer is no. And why is that? Because if you write anything inside of those quotation marks, except of escape sequence, etc., it's just gonna write whatever you wrote. So if I want to write Tom there, first of all, let's delete this my name part, because I want to write my name into that. You need to write your variable name outside of those quotation marks. So if I come here and write my name here, now we're clear. But we are still missing something. What are we missing? We need to add these two values together. So I need one single character for that, and is that a class. So if I write my name is as a string in a quotation marks and add a plus sign here and add my variable name, it's gonna write my name is Tom. Okay, let's see. As you can see, it just wrote my name is, which is in those quotation marks. And now if we execute our program, you're gonna see my name is Tom. This my name is part is our string part, and the Tom part is our variable name. And if we change this Tom to John, for example, as you can see, my name is John. Now let's do it for the age part. To do that, we have to define a different type of data type, because 22 is a number, a non-decimal number. To define a non-decimal number, we have to write int, short for integer. And let's write its variable name, let's say age, and assign it to, I don't know, 18 maybe. And as you can see, I didn't use any quotation mark while assigning a integer value. Okay, let's change this string then. For changing this string, I'm gonna of course delete this age number. I'm gonna put a quotation mark here. I'm gonna write my age here, and of course add another plus sign to combine with years old string, and of course add another quotation mark here. And if we were to execute this code, as you can see, my name is John and I am 18 years old, and I forgot to put a space between them. So yes, now much better. So if I were to add a decimal number, what will happen? Let's say the decimal number is an integer. So if I write integer, let's say num 3.5, it's gonna give me an error because you can't define a decimal number in an integer data type. You have to change this integer to float or double or decimal. And the difference between these three data types is their decimal points. So I can just say float has the lowest decimal point, then double, then decimal. But we are gonna use double data types. Let's change this into double data type, and as you can see, our error is now gone. Now let's write another example for our double num variable. Let's say console write_line. My GPA is, I want to write 3.5, and of course I don't want to write in a string, I want to use my variable. I need to put a plus sign and write my variable name, and of course put a semicolon in the end. So if I were to execute this command, as you can see, my GPA is 3.5. Okay, now let's give an example of different data type. So let's say my English grade is A. Let's give an example like that. And I want to change this grade character. To do that, I have to define a data type. And that data type is char, short for character. Let's say character my grade. And assign a value to that. To assign a value to char variable, we need to use apostrophe. So what I mean is that you can easily click Shift plus 2 in your keyboard, and as you can see, we have apostrophes. And I want to put a B value in that. So let's delete this A value from our string and put our char my grade variable. Let's say my grade. And if I were to execute this command, as you can see, my English grade is B. If you were to come here and change this to strings, as you can see, you are going to get an error because you cannot by convert type string to char. You need to put apostrophes there. So let's come to another data type, which is bool data type. Bool data type basically shows that the statement is true or false. Let's write one. Let's say bool is it higher than 10? Let's say it's higher than 10, and assign a value to this variable. Let's say it's true. Our value is 11, so it's higher than 10. So let's write true. And as you can see, when I write the true value here, it's going to change its color to blue because it's a keyword. And let's write this example, console write_line. If I just come here and write our variable name, it's gonna print us the true variable. As you can see, it's just gonna print true. But if I change this to false, it's just gonna print out false value. As you can see, it just print out false value. Now, if I were to come here and change my, I don't know, age value, let's say age 22. Let's change it back to 22 and write this console line again. What this age will show us? Is it going to be 18 or is it going to be 22? The answer is 22. Because what this compiler does, it executes here, it says to himself, age is 18. So the 18 of age will going to be written here, but now it's going to change its value to 22, so the age 22 is going to be written here. As you can see, I am 18 years old, and now that I changed value to 22 here, so I am 22 years old. So let's change it once more. Instead of changing age's value before our console write line command, let's change it after our console write command. What's going to be this age's value? Is it going to be 18 or 22? The answer is 18. Why is it 18? Because the compiler executes these lines of commands respectively. So when age was 18, it's going to execute this command, console write line command, and it's going to execute this console write line of command, and then it's going to change its value of age to 22. But don't forget that now in this command section, our value of age at the end is 22, not 18. We are going to be printing 18, but its value at the end is 22. Okay, before we end our lecture, let's play with integer and double data types. As I told you, you can put a decimal number to an integer variable. So if I were to come here and put a 0.5 value, as you can see, we're gonna get an error. But what will happen if I delete this 0.5 value from double variable? The answer is nothing's gonna happen. It's still going to print me a 3 number. As you can see, my GPA is 3. It's still going to print the number 3. But don't leave it like this, because double is a decimal data type, so it requires a decimal value. So even if this value has no decimal points, just add a 0.0 to it. Okay, so let me give you one last example. So if I come here and let's create another integer age value, let's say age 2, and let's say 56, and delete this, copy under it. So what will be going to happen? It's going to say I am 56 years old. But instead of typing the integer data type, if I were to come here and type a string data type and assign it like this, is it going to give me an error, or is it going to show 56 here? The answer is going to show 56 here. But the difference between this string age 56 and this integer age 18, you can't do any mathematical operations here. What I mean by that, if I come here and write 18 minus 9, this I am 8 years old going to change to 9. It's going to do this mathematical operation, and it's going to write I am 9 years old. As you can see, I am 9 years old. But if I come here and write 56 minus 9, it's going to write I am 56 minus 9 years old. And this will be it for today's lecture, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in our next lecture. Goodbye.